Hi guys, this is Jossie in the Transgender Effect. Thank you very much for tuning back. Today I want to talk about a very unpopular subject, which is suicide. Just um, fair warning, this is just my dealings with suicidal thoughts and depression. And every single time that I'm trying to do this video, it becomes more than an hour. So if it seems like I'm actually rushing, is because I want to make it more compact so you will be able to get the point across. And if you have questions, then we can talk about those questions. We can make a video of those questions. But right now I'm trying to make this particular video more emphasize on the fact that for one is that you are not alone. Not because, quote unquote, everybody tells me like, oh well, you're pretty and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. The transgender dysphoria is still there. The dealings with society, they're still there. Um, and sometimes, actually, believe it or not, uh, pretty girls are actually more of an object for the attacks, just because there are more guys that actually feel attracted to those girls, and then those girls, and then they find out, and they make a whole type of scene, and then you end up with a transgender woman that is traumatized just because of the fact that she was just being who she is, and then the whole hell breaks loose type of thing. So um and then obviously you have was like, well, I mean, I'm not that pretty, so I will never be able to get a partner and all that kind of stuff. Is like, okay, so just first things first. First things first. Um, I want you to understand that this particular the type of suicide that affects most of the society in general, it is the type of suicide that it is rooted on depression by isolation. Because there is also the depression based out of chronic pain, which is completely different, which is basically a terminal illness, and you are in pain, and no one is able, and your body is not able to take any more pain medication, just because it's just the pain is too much, that is impossible. um, and then, but the depression that comes from isolation, um, keep those terms really, really, really in mind. And understanding the terms, you will be able to, in a way, you will be able to overcome what might be ahead. It's kind of like, okay, so if you have a map, then you can say like, okay, so I have to turn left or right. Okay, I can go this way, I can go this far, or if I passed it, I can make a U-turn and go ahead and do this and stuff like that, and you know it. But one thing is like trying to go out there, like in the middle, like before GPS was even created, it was a nightmare, especially trying to find a house in the middle of the night. Oh. And then you have the people that were dyslexic, and they were giving you the the directions. You would end up in the opposite side of town. This street is not here. Where is it? I don't know. I'm not from here. Um, so understanding that this depression, the type of depression that leads most of the suicides here, not only in the United States but also in developed worlds, is it is the depression by isolation. And it is not only, in our case, it's not only that we feel alone, but it's also that we're isolated by our own society, and doesn't matter what you do, is society is telling you, no, you do not belong here, you don't belong here, stay away, stay away, stay away. And then you're like, okay, but I want to be included. I'm a person and I'm this and I'm that. And society is telling you no. The other thing is that when it comes down to family and friends, where whether they accept you, and friend like family might be able to say like, well, screw you, you are not one of us, you are not going to dishonored, whatever the hell that means, um, our name. And actually, like, if you had any kind of name anyways, jeez, how much debt you have anyways. But and then your friends, it is whether they're going to be like, okay, so oh, but we're Christians, we cannot accept you. um and this is the only like in one of my videos I actually talk about before coming out. You have to make sure that you actually do make friends within their own community, because the friends within their own community obviously will be able to understand you more on your coming out, will be able to assist you in some sort of extent, to say like, okay, so honey, don't wear that, please. This is not Saturday night, we're just going to the supermarket. Please put some decent clothing. And no, I don't want to see your G-string. um Even though you can go to Walmart. Jesus. Anyways, um, so you have this. So you have this. So in if you have this particular set of friends that will be able to assist you with your coming out and stuff like that, it gets easier. It totally got easier for me. So in a way, I prepare myself. I said this like, okay, I want to be intelligent, and an intelligent coming out. I don't want to be like, oh, let's see how that goes. Oh, wait a second, the car has no brakes. Um, so at one point, you have to be very intelligent and in understanding what is ahead. Like I said, it is really easy to get lost without a map. But if you have a sense of direction, okay, so we have our north, there's the east, there's the west and south. Okay, I'm great. Okay. The problem is that, okay, so it's noon. I can't see where the shadow is casting. But then but if you are with people that are able to understand your struggle, it will be easier. And people like that become your family, even if your own family is not able to embrace you. At least you have some support. At least you're not isolated. Remember, understanding the terms will be able you will be able to understand a little bit better what is ahead. And granted or not, a lot of life, we created language, so we'll be able to communicate it, so we will be able to communicate efficiently. One thing that you also have to understand is that language has been done not in a random fashion, but in a way that will be able to be understood by observing nature. And obviously, if you observe nature, at one point you start to find patterns. When you start finding patterns, then you start to find the cycles. And then when you find the cycles, then you find the seasons. And then when you find the seasons, then you find the years. And then after you find the particular set of seasons, then you will be able to tell, oh, in this particular season, I can do this. Okay. with that being said, isolation is extremely important to understand. And obviously, the one way sort of cure the isolation, you would think that it would be by being with other people. But how many of you have been out there and having like hundreds of friends, or at least tens of friends? And you're like, yeah, those are my buddies, and yes, yes, yoo-hoo. Peace and love, peace and love. And but how many of you can say like, well, I have a friend that will be able to just interrupt everything that he or she has to be there for you and listen to you? And that's where basically people start to get like, okay, so okay, yeah, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's not that you don't, it's not a matter of whether you have them right now, is how can you have them? And just like everything, is like if you are trying to attract something, you have to become part of that. In other words, is that if there's the this socio psychological principle that if you want to attract happy people, then you have to be happy. You cannot be a grumpy little punk and then like, I mean, no, there's, if you're a punk, I mean, I'm not saying like that. Sorry, I'm like older. Sorry, nothing against punks. You know, it's not like you're gonna be like a grumpy creature and you're gonna be like surrounded by happy people. Those happy people are gonna boot you out. Well, I don't want to be brought down by that grumpy people. But why not? Okay. All right. Anyways, so you get the picture. So the thing is that in order to be something like that, you have to become part of that. But then, okay, so how I am in this, you can say like, okay, I am in this particular predicament where I am trans. Um, Nobody wants to hang out with me, and I don't have real friends. Well, let's then you have to figure out for yourself, because the thing is that like if I start prompting out things here and there just to say like, and you will be like, well, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. Well, she didn't have any real answers for this. I'm liking that video. um but what I'm trying to say is that you have to analyze yourself. You really have to start falling in love with yourself. Yes, it is difficult, especially because we have the dysphoria. It's difficult for ourselves to love ourselves so we can love others. So the thing is that when I started, I started to see where I came from. I got pictures from before, and I look at them now, and I cannot. I'm like, wow, there was a big difference. There was a big difference, and I can remember that. I can remember that person. That person was really bitter, and that person was so um, not only confused, but it was bringing everybody down. But now I look at myself. I mean, it's not like I'm the life of the party, but for the most part, my depression has been gone. And I say for the most part just because I mean, I'm still human. I'm still able to fall into depression. And but my depression is not rooted in isolation anymore. My depression has to do more with my financial situation, um, or my or my specific type of situation where I'm at and stuff like that. It's situational instead of um, being rooted on isolation. So, and I've been in the place where basically people are there to just go ahead and die. I had set up my mind at one point that I was gonna do it. Then my best friend saved me, and there's a story for that. There's also a story for how one of my coworkers actually felt. He's an empath, and how my coworker actually told me to drop him off at work because he couldn't work with me because he felt that I had a dark energy around me and he couldn't bear with it. And that's the day when I was going to do it. Um, that morning, I decided that I was going to do it at the end of the day. I still went to work like nothing. And and then, long story short, my friend saved me because she said a very truthful thing is that you are trying to end your life right now without knowing absolutely nothing of whether your family, your friends, or your new friends, how they're going to treat you or how they're going to accept you. You have absolutely no idea. Oh, but what if they do? I mean, you should have seen me before. I was like, well, I mean, who's gonna want to check that? Um, and then she was like, we don't know. And then she said, "It's like here's the thing: is that you will have me. You will have my support. You will have my support, and if something happens, you get kicked out and stuff like that, you can come and live with me, um, and we'll figure something out." Out of maybe 500 something friends, I had only one friend that said that. And probably I only had one just because I she knew about myself. And now my the rest of my friends, they're like, why you never told us? Why were you dealing with suicidal thoughts? We don't understand. I mean, we're trying to understand you, but right now it's a puzzle right now. And we honestly, quite honestly, we don't know what to do. And also try to remember that it is not expected for everybody else to know your current situation. Because remember, isolation doesn't have to do with just the society, but isolation also comes from yourself. Isolating yourself from others, isolating your thoughts from others, isolating your deeper inner feelings and from everybody else, and no one is able to understand a word of what you say just because you are too guarded. I can tell you by experience that sometimes in life you have to become vulnerable in order to regain a lot of terrain, and you regain terrain based upon your own persona. That's one of the lessons that I learned through life. And the fact that you have to be careful with your medication, especially the estrogen will prompt you to have very, very depressive states. And as long as you are aware of that, and even the doctor tells you, and they're like, hey, you know what, here, for example, I went to on my to the clinic that I used to go. Like, my doctor actually said, like, hey, you know what, here's the thing, is that there's this other things, and that includes depression. And I was like, ooh, damn, I really suffer from depression. It's gonna get me more depressed. Oh boy. And then, and it's natural for you to actually say, like, you know what, actually I want to have this development done like quick and stuff like that. So I want to have a higher dosage, but it really doesn't matter that, because I mean, your doctor is actually looking at your blood work, and only the body is able to take that much estrogen anyways at any given point in time, and that limit only, and that was it. Then the rest of it is basically just your body just says, like, goodbye, see ya, bye, bye bye, bye bye. And you have to understand that your hormones might be able to, you have to be to really, really, really talk to your doctor about the problems, and try to talk to your doctor whether you might want to include progesterone, which actually helps a lot with depression, um, and vitamin D levels and stuff like that. So just make sure you talk to your doctor about it. Make sure that you also are in a support group, especially if you're just coming out. So you will be able to not only just make friends, but also have other friends that have gone just recently through those states, and so everybody's able to be together and not being isolated. Um, Later on in life, that's when it comes down to, after X number of years, that then you're like, you know what, I would like to have a partner. I think that I'm ready. Then you start to navigate through the dating world, and then you find out that it's just uh, and then you wonder whether you're gonna be with somebody or not. So until that moment gets there, for one, I can tell you that things have been changing. Just because I remember my first postings of um, trying to date somebody. Oh God, I got so much hate mail. So much. It was unreal. People actually will go out of their own way to just go ahead and insult me. I had to cancel like with 7 different websites or apps just because, God, it was bad. It was bad at the beginning. But right now it's getting better. It's getting better just because of the fact that people are more aware that there's more than, in the gender spectrum, there's more than what we thought it was. The binary system does not work anymore, and people with HM information are able to understand a little better. But anyways, guys, I don't want to make this too lengthy, but I just want to know that um, it gets better. If you are dealing with suicidal thoughts, please get in contact with the Transgender Suicide Helpline. The phone number is down in the description of the video, so you will be able to to be able to relate to other people that um, may or may not being in the same situation as you are right now. And it is operated by transgenders, and it is founded by transgenders, just because of the fact that we lose a lot of us to suicide. We lose a lot of us to suicide, and it makes you wonder, would it be me? Hopefully not. Hopefully you will be able to understand that your isolation is rooted also on the fact that how do you select your own friendships, whether you want to stay in touch with people that hate you, and if they're like what you considered significant relationships or significant friendships, and they don't want to accept you, let it go. Just let it go. And it's not worth your time. It's not worth your depression. It's not worth your isolation. It's not worth your life. So please, if you are running into any kind of hardship situation, please call the Transgender Suicide Line, and the number will be down below. Put your comments down below. Subscribe if you want to, like if you like it. But if you have a different story, let me know. You can also, if you want to say like, well, this is very private, I don't want to put it in the comments, just go onto the about section of my actual channel, and then you will be able to find an address that you will be able to write to. I check that email address like at least once a week, and but I want to hear from you, your experience. Just if you want your story and stuff like that being portrayed in this channel, go ahead and go ahead and contact me and stuff like that. So we'll be able to work something out, whether I read it or I call you over the phone, so you can actually just go ahead and tell your story. So thank you very much, guys. Don't get isolated, because there's trouble. Be careful, and I'll see you guys until the next time, and also keep on smiling. Bye.